What's up, everybody? It's Old Man Winter 8 for Sun and Ski Sports, and we're going to find out if the Ride Warpig is a wise buy for you. So the Warpig from Ride has really become a staple board in their lineup, and it is the basis for just about every single board that's in their Pig series. It does come in unisex sizing, and another thing that's kind of cool to note is this thing is now made with 44% renewable solar energy. But getting down to the shape on this thing, you look at it, it is a directional shape, but don't let that shape fool you. When you look at the stance on this thing, it actually says centered. And the reason it says centered is because from contact point to contact point, this stance is sitting right in the middle. That extra long nose is all in the kick, and it's all in part of the board that's actually sitting off of the snow. And the exact same story when we're looking at that shorter, squattier tail. Essentially, it's like taking a twin tip board, we're taking a little bit off of the tail and we're sticking it on the nose. So when you do get this thing onto flat snow, it's gonna ride exactly like a twin tip board, but when you get into deeper snow, it's gonna wanna sink the tail and lift the nose. And then when we look at the bend on this thing, they do a flat to rocker, so you get a lot of stability in between your feet, and then we get that extra lift in the nose and tail. So it does have a nice, easy, smooth feel from edge to edge, but it also gives you a little bit more lift and a little bit more float when you get into powder. And then that being said, it does have 10 millimeters of taper, so you are getting that little bit of extra width in the nose for that float as well. We're looking at the flex on this thing. It is a medium flex, so very, very versatile for a wide variety of conditions. And another big thing to note about this board is that it is a volume shift board. So it is a little bit shorter, it is a little bit wider, and it is a little bit stiffer overall for each size. Then when you buy this thing, you're gonna wanna buy it 5 to 10 centimeters shorter than what you would usually buy. For instance, this 51 is gonna be for riders that usually ride a 156 to a 161. And then when we go inside of this thing, we are looking at a hybrid glass. So they do have one layer of triaxle and one layer of biaxle. We've got that layer of biaxle with the fiberglass going in 2 directions for that nice, easy, smooth feel. And then they also add that layer of triaxle with the fiberglass going in 3 different directions. So you do get a little bit more power, not just along the length of the board, but also in and out of your turns. It's kind of that ultimate combination of power, pop, and stability with a nice, easy, smooth, predictable feel. And then underneath your feet, we do have those impact plates, which are basically pieces of fiberglass to help sturdy up the board and making your bindings feel like they're a little bit bigger. And then we have the Carbon Array 3, which is 3 strips of carbon that go from the bindings all the way up to your contact points on the nose and the 2 of them on the tail. What this does is a couple things. Since it is kind of going along the length of the board and it's going from your bindings out to the tips, it is adding spring and pop, but it also is adding stability, because every time you land and you flex, you're pushing on that carbon, and instead of the board washing out, it's gonna wanna set you down to that center stance position. But then also, since it's going on these angles underneath your feet out towards the contact points, we're taking pressure from your bindings and we're pushing it out towards the contact points, and we're helping to even out that pressure from about here up to the nose of the board, giving you even better edge hold when you are laying down carves. And then as we move around to the edges, we're talking about laying down carves. Another big thing to notice is their slim wall. So they've taken their urethane slime wall, which is a nice soft material that 1, absorbs a lot of chatter, and 2, if you're hitting rails and stuff, it gives a little bit so you're not cracking your edges. But also by doing this very, very slim version of it, it actually makes the board feel like it's a lot quicker from edge to edge. When you tip this thing up, it wants to dig into the snow a little bit faster. So even though this board is a little bit wider than something that you'd usually be riding, it helps counteract that sluggishness from wide boards from edge to edge. And then we're looking at that edge, it is their cleave edge, which is 30% bigger. So you are getting a little bit more durability out of your edge. And then the base of this thing is a sintered base that is nice and fast and very, very durable. But is the Ride Warpig a wise buy for you? Well, this is definitely for those intermediate to advanced riders who are looking for one board that can ride from park to powder and everywhere in between. Having that directional shape and all that extra material up in the nose and that little bit less in the tail really makes this thing want to float like crazy when you get it into deep snow. But again, having that twinned up stance on the side cut and having that nice stable rocker feel and that little bit more of a medium flex really makes this thing feel like some of the best park boards out there when you are lapping the jumps and the rails. It truly is a one board quiver killer. And another thing I always say too is that if if you are somebody who's maybe a little bit heavier for your height and you don't want to have to jump up in sizes for something that's going to fit you and not wash out on you, you can buy the Warpig in a size that fits you just like a traditional board and get that extra stability that you need without having to buy a board that's a little bit longer than you feel comfortable riding. But if you got any questions about anything that we talked about in this video, definitely leave some comments down below. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to the Sun and Ski YouTube channel, and make sure to head on into your local Sun and Ski so you can check out the Ride Warpig for yourself. But if you don't have one nearby, no problem. You can always look them up at sunandski.com.